Well, welcome everyone. I'm Angela Johnson. I'm one of the co-hosts of this fabulous group that we created. And I want to just start things off with just what our target is and was when we actually started this public conversation. And so for you guys who are just joining us, if you actually just mouse over the left-hand corner and just actually turn off your video if you're joining us, then we'll actually open up the videos for everyone else at the very end. But we actually are in a mastermind together, and one of our commitments in a mastermind is to bring forth 3 qualities, and it's truth, courage, and visibility. I've really, cut through all the bullshit in business and actually talk about what really happens in business. And we had the conversation of, gosh, this would be really great to expand this conversation, because we would leave our mastermind meetings empowered, uplifted, supported, witnessed, in whether we were celebrating a fabulous, painful client, really great financial month, or when we were feeling like, oh my hell, I feel like I'm a hot mess. It's everything in between. And rather than, looking at people's lifestyle marketing on Facebook as if that's the real picture of business, it's like we know the truth. We know that there are shit days. We know there are great days and everything in between. So where is there a space to actually come together and really just be real, talk about what really happens in business and what kind of magic can we actually unleash with and for each other when we actually come together in that space. So that's what we started. And so we just thought, let's actually have these mastermind meetings for everyone to hear. And that's why you're here. So we're very excited about this month's topic. And so before I introduce this month's topic, let me just turn it over to my co-hosts. They'll take a moment to introduce themselves. And then we'll just give you a little bit of an overview of what's in store for you for the next hour, and we'll dive in. Hi, Corey.
Hi.
I'm going to turn off everyone's video other than the co-host. So not that I don't love everyone, but we're going to just turn on the video at the very end for everybody. Okay, everybody?
Okay.
Sounds good. I am Chris Prochaska and chrisprochaska.com, and I work with women who are leaders, whether they're leaders in their business or leaders in their homes as parents, and am working on developing a movement called Scared to Sacred Leadership, and everything that embodies in really claiming our sacred voice, our intuition. So I'm super excited about tonight's topic. And I'm so glad all of you are here, and I can't wait to dive in.
Awesome. So I'm Michelle Voss, michellevoss.com if you want to learn more. And I am the visibility expert. And, what I want to actually say about that is why am I the visibility expert? And I'll tell you in short, it's because I have hidden most of my life and have really had to struggle with stepping out in my full authenticity and what that means, what that looks like. And so I've done my work around it. I've done my inner work, and now I help other people do it, other business people. I think there's a few of you on the session or show, whatever the hell it is, show, I guess, call it, tonight. And so it's a really interesting topic, I think, visibility, in the sense that we all want to be seen, and yet we all hide. And so I love helping business people and even just people on their personal path with that as well. So again, you can learn more about me at my website. But I'm really glad to be here and to see you guys, or sort of see you and then see you later.
Yeah, see you
virtually, see you, and then and just dive in, because just like Angela said, I think we really wanted to create some space for all of us to show up differently. And have a different conversation than what's normally out there. So this is good.
Yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, my name's Angela Johnson, and I'm a message and marketing strategist. I also love live events, and I really help empower women to have the courage to say yes to that big dream, and have the courage to say no to everything that doesn't fit that dream. And that's the real soul work that I do, and that looks a lot like messaging, marketing, live event strategy, all those third dimensional things. And so let me introduce this month's topic, which is about dreams or disappointment. And we were talking, a couple weeks ago just about this thing that happens in business, that you have the big dream and it doesn't quite work out. And where I'm actually seeing this trend with clients, with myself, is like, do I have the courage to go for it once again? Or can I handle another disappointment? And there's so much self-judgment wrapped up in that experience. It's like, what if it could actually be totally different? And I think we can all like put our Pollyanna hat on of like, there's no such thing as failure. It's just a step in the right direction telling us, you know, what never to do again. And it's like, yeah, we can have that. But there's that moment of like, well, shit, that really sucked. Like that was really hard. And when, you know, when we were talking, and one of the things I wrote down is, what do you do when your intuition leads you on a path, but that path actually doesn't work out? And it was funny because when I created the graphic for that topic, Michelle and Chris are like, I don't remember us talking about, you know, when intuition leads to a failure. I'm like, oh, that must have just been totally on me. And so that's what we're talking about. And so I'll just start off that conversation, and I'll toss it over to my co-host, that the first time that happened that I'm, you know, aware of in my business was after the first event, because I hosted, and that was in 2009, and I had over 200 attendees. Some of you know the story. Keynote speaker that I paid $25,000 to. I borrowed that money from a friend, so you can already see where that's going. And I was following my intuition, or so I thought. And I thought it would all work out. I kept having faith. I kept telling myself, just have faith, just keep going. And it's like everywhere I turned, something was falling apart. And then I would overcome it. And then I would overcome it. And I'm like, oh, see, it's going to happen. And what ended up happening, it was a $40,000 loss. And I wasn't making money in my business. That was it. Like, that was the big vision. That was the big dream. And there was that moment of, maybe my intuition is a liar, or maybe I'm just making this up in my head, and I'm so out of touch with inspiration that none of this was inspired, and it was all bullshit. And it was really a year of reconciling intuition versus sticking my head in the sand, but really seeing like, yeah, your intuition will lead you somewhere, but your awareness and continued intuition to make sure that you as a business owner are making a profit in these big projects, like that was one of my big lessons. And so it was a lot of courage to muster up to go, am I willing to do this again? Am I willing to take a risk and host this, you know, transformational event and follow my intuition when I don't know if I can trust it? Mm. You know, can I really trust it? Do I trust myself? Because I made so many decisions in that process that there were a lot of people who did not trust me because I owed them money, $40,000 of invoices to people that I had no idea how to pay. And so how do you trust yourself and dream again when it's like your current reality, the third dimensional reality around you is telling you, and I have people say, this probably isn't your lot in life. You should probably find another path. And it was like that moment of going, but I'm so confused because my vision and my intuition, I can see it as clear as day. And I have no idea why this result happened when my vision was this, and they are vastly different. So how do we reconcile that? So that was a really huge experience. And that's still like, I'm continuing to learn from that. So Michelle and Chris, do you have something, you know, similar, or like, what is your perspective of the dream versus disappointment?
I feel like, and first of all, I'm really glad you shared that, because I think a lot of people, you know, that's part of what we go through, right? We are visionaries. We do have visions about our business, or at least desires that we want to, you know, that we're connected to about it. And that is, I think, a hard place to kind of recognize, you know, following the energy, following that intuition. And then when the outcome isn't what you expected, you know, or was your desire or the vision of it. And for me, it's an interesting topic because I have been one that actually has followed my intuition pretty naturally. And I didn't understand until recently, probably in the last 4 years or so, what was different about the way that I kind of did it. And what I found is different is that intuition has no agenda.
Right.
None.
Yep.
There's zero attachment to any outcome with intuition. Intuition doesn't, it just, there's no right or wrong, no good or bad, no attachment. And so that's when I get attached to the vision of it, right, to like this is my dream and it looks like this, then that's where I end up disappointed. but it's not the intuition that led me to that disappointment.
Exactly.
The intuition was always guiding me to the energy of that, whatever that vision was, just my mental image of it, but the energy is what I really desired. And also, whose time frame, right? Like my time frame or God's time frame, or, you know, the energy of my business time frame. Like, you know, we've talked about that your business has its own energy. And so I love that we're talking about this, because I just think it is so much of how we experience disappointment, whether it's business or relationships, you know, whatever it might be. And it's a hard one, because we know what intuition feels like, but no one has taught us how it's different than like desire.
Oh,
right?
Yep.
Boom.
So,
yes.
you know, one of the ways that I discern my intuition, like you said, it has no agenda, but it also has no emotion.
Right.
Our intuition has no emotion attached to it. And so when we get that hit, whatever it is, in that moment, however we receive that, whether that's through our feeling, through our gut, through our spleen, you know, in all the different ways that we can experience that, in that moment that we receive it, there is no emotion attached to it. But in a split second afterwards, we will have we'll have a thought and an emotion, like a judgment or a thought or emotion that follows it. Of, you know, like Carrie mentioned in there, like, you know, what will people think? What if it doesn't work? Da, da, da. Like, you know, I say intuition is socially inconvenient. You know, because when we really listen to it,
highly inconvenient.
It's highly inconvenient.
Because sometimes it really pisses me off.
I know, right? And so, but in those moments that I have had that absolute clarity and that knowing, there's never been an emotion attached to it. Mm-hmm. And that's how I know it's my intuition and not my fear or my desire or my ego. It's so clear, and it's taken me a long time to discern that. Yeah, a long time. And oh God, I mean, I think about it like all the times that I've looked at my intuition and go, God, I followed that and it didn't work out. And the honest God truth is that it wasn't that my intuition led me astray. It's that I didn't follow my intuition every single time. Because every single time I had a knowing in a split second of something's off, even if it's just something's off, and then I did it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's when I got disappointed. That's when I had the problem. It was when I didn't listen to it. And yet it looked like all the while I was listening to it. And so that, for me, that's been my experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as I'm thinking back to that event, I just got a big aha that it was my unwillingness to disappoint people that I kept disguising as intuition or this big vision, but I was unwilling to say no.
Yeah.
And I kept saying yes when it was like, no, I need to say no here and actually follow my intuition instead of follow this vision. That it's like everyone else had their idea of a vision. I'm like, oh, I want to make you happy and you happy. And that sounds great. Mm-hmm. And my sponsors, and it became, truthfully, it became everyone else's vision, but I kept thinking it was mine.
Yes.
I had to perform. I had to deliver. I had to create this platform for everyone. And I abandoned my own intuition.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's interesting because when I'm working with people and I look at their design and I'm thinking, and I'm seeing where we're open and receptive to other people's ideas and their desires and their emotions, it's very easy to get swayed by what's coming at us and then think it's ours. And then we go, oh, okay, it was mine. I guess it was mine. And then we find out later, oh shit, that wasn't mine at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you guys do to really differentiate? And for those of you guys, thank you so much for your comments.
Yeah.
Keep it up. So when we ask questions, I'd love for you guys to chime in as well, because this is such an amazing conversation. And just also so you know that we will be posting these episodes live on or not live, I guess recordings on our website. And so early, or a little bit later, we're going to be opening up for someone to actually join us and pull up a chair and actually have some mastermind time with us. So just so you guys are aware that that will be posted on a public website, so that we're just very clear that this is really a conversation that contributes to many more people outside of this circle. And so it's a step in vulnerability, visibility. And if that just doesn't work for you, then don't raise your hand to pull up a chair and mastermind with us. If you are okay with that, then awesome. When we do open it up to select a person, then just know that that is part of what is included. And for those of you, again, if you just joined us, if you mouse over the bottom of your screen, you'll see a chat box, a little conversation box. Click on that, and you can participate in the conversation that way as well. So what are some of the things that, you know, we've already touched on it a little bit, but that in that moment when is this intuition? Is it leading me to a dream, or is it some other agenda? Like, how do you differentiate that? And I'd love for you guys to chime in too on the chat box of how do you determine what's intuition and what's your attachment to an idea?
Yeah. And I would like to throw in there too, like, how do we interpret it? So when I was preparing for my TED Talk, and I don't remember if it was an oracle card or if it was this gut sense of something's not right. Be careful. There was a cautionary feeling that I was receiving, and it was pretty clear. It was, however it came to me. I wish I wasn't perimenopausal so I could remember this shit. But however it came to me, I remember going, something feels like this is going to be a challenge, right? This is going to be a challenge. And yet I was already in the path. I was already walking down the path of, I'm going to do this talk, right? And it was in hindsight, I realize now that it was my inner voice saying, if you don't heed me, you're up shit creek. But what I interpreted it in a completely different way. And because of my interpretation, I did end up having, some challenges after the talk. And because I didn't listen to my inner voice, which was just telling me, hey, do the talk, but you're going to have to do it the way you want to do it, not the way they want you to do it. Just like you were saying, Angela, everybody wants you to do this, and I don't want to disappoint people, and I don't want to be pulled off the stage, and I don't want to go rogue, although my inner voice was saying, go rogue, change everything at the last minute. And it's interesting now when I look back at how we can use these tools like oracle cards or psychic readings or, going to other people and saying, tell me what to do. All of us, I think, would agree that we're all about, we can help you discern between, is this your little voice or your inner voice? That's the language I use, or is this your intuition, or is this your fear? But we can't tell you this is what you need to do. If it resonates for you, if it is aligned with you, you'll know it. Otherwise, I don't know. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Mm-hmm. I think I think is really important is to know how your intuition shows up.
Yes.
There's actually 6 different ways. Everyone kind of thinks it's usually just sort of one way, that's either, you see things or hear things or whatever. It's actually 6 different ways. And so you have to know how that speaks to you, so then you can learn to actually listen to it. Because I think if you don't, then it is going to be very confusing to know, it's like, is this a feeling? Am I like, Yep. Mine's pretty clear because I hear things, is one of the ways. And it's not my voice, and it's not in it. And just like Chris said, there's zero emotion, like zero. Mm-hmm. And I find it hilarious because it's like, it was like, get a new key for the elevator. And I was like,
Yeah.
like, what? Well, and then I was like, no, just like, no, I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, I know my key works in this elevator. It's fine. Well, that night at the hotel, fire alarm goes off. The only elevator that my key worked in wasn't working. So I ended up spending like another like 60 minutes trying to deal with getting back up to my room. So it's just like this stuff that doesn't have to be life-threatening or whatever. It's just, you have to know how it shows up for you, though. Mm-hmm. So I just saw, what are the 6 ways? And I knew as soon as you were going to say that, as soon as I was going to say this, I was going to ask for the details. I have to look it up. But
you're on the spot.
I know, exactly. And I have a training on this, and I can't think of them right off the top of my head because I can't spell them either. So basically, you either see things, like you have that kind of visionary, which is actually pretty rare. Most people kind of think that's part of a lot of intuition. It's actually pretty rare. You hear things like voices, sometimes like even songs, like there's certain songs that will pop up that I'm kind of like, pay attention to that song. Like it's an auditory thing. There is body stuff. So like I have a tingle that will pop up right here. That still pisses me off. I still actually don't know what it means. I've been working on that for 6 years and I don't know what it means. But you'll have body sensations that'll give you the clues. You also have just like this sensory perception. Like most people have that, where there's this, you just know, like you just know. There's no way that you're supposed to know. It's not any information. It's not logical. You just have that inner sense. That is the most common. Like that's the one that most people actually experience. Is that 6 or 5? Chris, do you know?
Yeah, I think you're there. So it's clairsentient, clairvoyant, clairaudient,
yes.
claircognizant.
Yes.
There's
sentient is the
the feeling. Right. And then there's also like there's those, and then in human design we look at it and you can see it maps out exactly what people have. It's pretty cool. Like you can look at and go, oh, I'm an auditory person, or I have a sense of smell, or that sense of seeing. And
there is actually the smell one.
I can never remember that.
Most people are actually multiples.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just really quickly, just housekeeping. If you guys can just, if you've got background noise and you're not muted, if you could just mouse over the left-hand corner bottom of the screen and just mute yourself so we can just keep the recording really clear, that would be awesome. I'm trying to mute a couple people and it's not letting me, so I don't know what that's about. So, yeah. Okay, continue.
Well, I just think, I think, again, people have to know how their intuition speaks to them. And I've spent a lot of time pondering what is intuition and all of that. Like, is it God? Is it, and you know what? I gave up because I don't know. I'm a human being and I don't know if I'll ever know. And it doesn't matter, because what I do know is that it saved my life. It has saved me from very horrible situations, and has saved me from inconvenience, like elevators. It has led me on the path, right? And this is that, Angela, you're like, we can be Pollyanna and be like, we learn everything along the way. But I do think that it really does. It's our internal GPS, right? It's absolutely. And not being attached to the outcome. That is 100% ego-based, and it's got nothing to do with intuition at all. And it's hard to do. That's hard to not be attached to the outcome.
Yeah.
Whether it's a relationship, conversation, whether it's a business situation, whatever it is, it's hard. It's hard not to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's where we get tripped up.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that's really a key point with, especially around business, is because that disappointment, the dreams, the comparison that comes up for all of us. I'll speak for myself, just to be, speaking for myself, not for anyone else. Of like, oh, well, so-and-so did it that way. And so I must do it that way. In fact, I shared with my clients a group call this morning that my coach had outlined several strategies to fill a room. I have a large event, large as in about 100 people next week. And they were like, do this, do this, do this. And I know all the strategies. I've been doing events for a long time. And one of them was to actually host an in-person, like, small gathering in Utah to help sell for for Ignite. And every time I went to do it, I was like, this is really annoying. And I don't want to do it. Hang on just a second. We've got some background noise. There we go. I think that took care of it. Anyway, every time I went to do it, it just felt heavy. And I was like, is this just me being lazy? And so I asked some questions around it. Is it my intuition saying, no, don't do this. It's actually not required. Like, do something else. Put your energy somewhere else. And so just like, is this my resistance? What is this? And you just kept getting the, like, that knowing over and over. It's just like, don't do this. It's not required. It's not fun for you right now. Don't do it. And I didn't. And the events, almost sold out. It's like it wasn't required. But it was that moment of just, I think one of the keys is to ask questions about, like, is this intuition? Is it my resistance? Is this for now or is this for later? That was another thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's, you're so good at that, Angela, is asking questions around it, because I think that's one of the keys, right? To kind of, how do you process this and how do you know? It's to be curious and to ask the questions. And my big thing is resistance. Same thing. Like, I don't like to do what I don't want to do. Like, I've just I've never been a person to like work hard just for the sake of it. Like, that's not me. And so when something gets really hard, I do have to check in. Like, is that me just like not wanting to, or is that resistance part of this sort of inner knowing of, yeah, no, that's just too soon? And I just had that same thing with the events. Like, was planning the event in the fall and can't find a space. And I was like, you know what? This is getting hard. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, what else is possible? And the answer of, it's supposed to be later on, like the beginning of the year. I'm like, okay. Right? Like, not attached to how it has to look. And that just feels a lot easier and a lot better. Not just easy. Like, easy is not even the right word. Like, it just feels peaceful versus, well, but I told everybody it's going to, because I did. I've told all my clients it's going to be in the fall. Okay, well, I'll tell them now it's not. Because it's not meant to happen in the fall. And that's what, going back to exactly what you said, Angela, you're over here. That's why. Is we have to be willing to say no, or this isn't working and I need to re-choose. And that again, that can be really hard to do.
Yeah, I think of it like when we're in that scared place, those, oh God, what will people think? Or I said this, I promised this, whatever. We immediately feel constriction. And when we're in that place, we can't hear our intuition. There's too much white noise. And when we're in that, I call it sacred place, then it's expansive. It knows what we cannot know. It knows the details. It knows, like, you know what, there's like 5 people that need to be at your event and they can't make it in the fall. And you know what, you have some things you need to do too. So we're going to make it in the winter. And you don't need to know. You don't get to know why, and it doesn't matter why. It's just, if we can follow it and just keep following it, then it works out. It does. It's just terrifying along the way because we're out of control. We don't have any control. I know for me, I am a card-carrying control freak, and it's part of my design, that as soon as I get into that place, I have to just keep saying, okay, thank you very much. I know you want to control this, but there's something, we're in a, I say, like the Blues Brothers, we're on a mission from God, like whatever that is. I'm like, you got to keep it down, because this is bigger. This is bigger than us. This is bigger than the fear. It's bigger than what other people's egos have to say. It's bigger than all of that. And that helps me to stay grounded in that inner voice, in that inner wisdom, the knowing, my intuitive space. So,
yeah, beautiful. So I'm just wondering, kind of listening to everyone and just feeling into who's here. First of all, there's a lot of you, which is fabulous. Yeah. Who's feeling like they want to share, or get some mastermind or present a topic? Like, if there's something that is up for you Because that, again, just like Angela said, that's how it would work for us, is we just got on, there's no agenda, and we would just get on with each other and say, like, what's up? And we would kind of take turns, like, this is what's up for me. And then we dialogue about it, kind of process how each other have some insights. And then, you know, move on to the next person. So just kind of have you marinate there to see if there's anything that's up for you guys.
So if you're now, I call these the hottie seats because we're all hotties, but it's not like this. Like, we're all going to be processing you, you know. Yeah. Oh, hi, Jacqueline.
Hi.
I'm all right.
Okay.
Does that work for you guys?
Sure.
Okay. So I see your son in the background. Hi, son. Or friend of the sun.
Turn it around. So my question is, and this is, Angela knows about this, but I have been getting a website built since February, and it was supposed to be done in March. And I'm usually really good at finding support. And having it all work out. Either quickly, it's over, or it's long lasting. And it's just been one thing after another where things don't work, it's not done, and it's still not complete. And so my question is, like, am I doing something to get in the way, or did I just make a bad choice and I need to move on, you know?
Well, I would ask the question, what do you feel? Which one do you feel it is?
Well, I feel like, I mean, it's a beautiful site. It's not, I feel like it represents me more than any other site that I've done, which is really great. But there's so many things that are wrong with it. And I feel like since I've launched it, like I've put it out there and said, here it is. And then, nope, only kidding, there's nothing really there. Or like this, you know, the sales page was supposed to be up a while ago, and like up until today, and I had my VA do it, not my web person. So I don't know what it is. You know, so is it my resistance to being seen in this beautiful professional way?
So stay with that for a second and check in. Is it?
I mean, that actually does ring true. You know, yeah, like when I say that, it definitely makes me feel a little bit emotional.
Let me ask another question that I think is connected to that is, does the person who's the designer actually have the capacity to, I'm trying to think of how to say that, to facilitate the energy of where you're going?
Ooh.
Does that make sense?
So,
good
question.
Like, yeah, so does she actually have the capacity to create the container for how you are seen in the world in this really big up level and evolution of you and your brand? Like, does it match where you're going? It may have matched at the beginning, but in truth, have you actually evolved so quickly she actually can't keep up with you?
I mean, that feels really right. When you first asked the question, it was like, no, like she's in such a different place than I am. You know, she was at the beginning as well, but yeah, I feel like I've kind of like gone, and I don't know like how to get it resolved. You know, like I'm totally okay with firing her, but I'm still left with this site that's not complete.
So who is the person, and if this is just an energetic question of like, so who is that person that actually has the capacity to put, you know, the technology, like all those little things to actually help you create the container of how your like debut in this new brand is seen in the world? Like, once there's space to receive that person, do you believe that they'll show up?
Oh, well, I think when I'm ready to receive them, yeah. like I'm ready to like step into my shoes. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's good.
So is it the perfect combination of the visibility stretch, and you created the perfect partnership with someone to support you with exactly what you were asking for. And now that you've evolved, it's like, oh, wait, this doesn't match anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep. I agree. I'm going to sign off now.
I'll just add kind of to how I think sometimes this plays out is that, and this actually just played out with me over the last couple of months with my videographer, which I adore. I love that man. And scheduling wise, like, it's just really been very challenging to get us like figured out. But what's funny is that every time, like every couple of weeks, we're like, oh, this is the day. And then I'm like, okay, so then this is what I'm going to shoot, blah, 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 blah. And then that doesn't work out. It's like, okay, for whatever reason, like random stuff, like not just him, like my husband was home one time and just whatever, random stuff. I'm like, oh, because those aren't the videos I'm supposed to be shooting. It's this. And so I'm still not, so it is that same kind of like, if it doesn't work out, instead of like, oh, this isn't meant to be, that's like, well, wait, I've already outgrown that original video series. Like, I'm on to the next one and I didn't even do it. Like, it's right here. And it can be that too, right? So again, it's just kind of like release our judgment around the disappointment or what it's supposed to look like, because energetically anything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Jacqueline.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we've got time for another.
Yeah, let's have another.
Yeah. So who else would like to ask a question to contribute, a different topic to the conversation? Is there someone who's feeling that nervousness, butterflies, or total readiness? Hi, Priscilla.
Hi. Can I ask my question with my ugly hair that I was not planning on sharing? I was probably making the noise.
You could put a bobby pin and pretend you did your hair today. You could do that too. I did that.
Yeah, I'll look hilarious. I'll be brave if it's okay, if no one else wants to go.
Yeah, go for it.
Right? Yeah.
I love the topic, by the way. That's why I wanted to show up. So for me, what's been happening, and I don't know if anyone has ever felt this way, I've been really deepening my message, really working productively and creatively in a way that I've enjoyed. It hasn't felt like hustling, because I hate the word. But I've been, last year it was like a coming out for me, and I would snap my fingers and a painful client, 3,500, 5,000, there you go, right? Done. This year it has felt like pulling teeth. Like I've upped my game, my creativity, my productivity, and the money has not followed, especially the last 8 weeks. And I swear to God, I mean, Angela, you know how much I love what I do. And I was seriously thinking there's no way up. Like I got to a low that was a low I had never seen before. Made me think of maybe your 40,000. Like I think I was reading one of her, I was like, maybe that was her moment of shit. I'm done for, And so I haven't muscle tested this. My guidance was that, I had to deepen my commitment. I'm like, but why do you have to deepen your commitment and like not make thousands of dollars? Can't you just like deepen your commitment and be making the money? Or can't you just deepen your faith and also like make sure that the lights are on and all those things? And I'm so done with this fucking shit. I'm so over it. I'm
so deep already.
Branding. I love what I do. I do great work. I mean, Angela, you've experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not that I expect anyone to have an answer, but I'm just pissed off and frustrated because I mean, it's one of those things where it's like sometimes I feel there are days where I'm hanging by a thread, that if one more person says no, and I have a group program that's almost full, but that's not gonna, it's just, and I don't know if you guys have been confronting this, and maybe it's something with me. I've never had people have money issues. Never. It's never been an issue. They're ready, they sign up. Maybe they'll do a payment plan. And I'm being confronted with, oh, do you have a payment plan? Oh, today someone could not pay $350 for a reading. I don't have the money.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know what's going on. And so I don't know if any of you have had any funky shit happen, because I feel like everyone else is making money but me. And, you don't tell me I invest, I do the work, I ask for the money, I got up at 8 a.m. to talk to someone in fucking Italy today, and I do free coaching sessions, run in a Facebook group. What else do you want me to do more? So sorry. Thank you for
I love. This is the first time we're friends on Facebook. I've never actually heard you talk, so it's so fun to meet you. Finally, I think we should all everybody right now, if there's no small children in your room, let's all just give a collective fuck at the same time. Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Oh, that was so liberating.
Yeah, that's our empathy fuck. So I'll
add to that. Sorry.
I think we do. I just love that you're willing to share that, because I think we've all been there, and it does on Facebook or everywhere else or wherever you hear people. It's like, yeah, everything's great, and we don't hear the backside of it and what's going on. Now, someone just told me recently, and again, I say this with a huge grain of salt, because I don't want people to tell me like this is what's happening. It's sort of like with Mercury retrograde, like, oh no, nothing happens during Mercury retrograde. I've had my best months during Mercury retrograde, and I've had shit months during it. So it doesn't, it's gone either way. But someone was saying to me once that during an election year, people are really squirrely. I don't know why that is. I don't even know if I necessarily buy it. But I think it's interesting, because what I think, this is just my hit as you were talking, you're like, what's going on? Is that there are people that are just, we're at a point in time in history, we're at a hinge point, and people are opting in or they're opting out. And it's pretty cut and dry. I'd love to hear what other people have to say about this, but that's my sense, is that they're either choosing life, they're choosing their business, they're choosing to go deep, to do what Spirit's calling them to do, to answer that call, or they're ignoring it. And they're opting out, whatever that looks like. They're not even having $350 to do, your brilliant work. So I'd love to hear what other people have to say about that, but that's just my initial hit while you were saying that.
I think that's great. And my boyfriend, bless you, Angela, my boyfriend brought that up to me. He said it's an election year, and I feel like there's so many of us, I think, have experienced a lot of shifting of all kinds, recently. But here's my point. Somebody is making money.
Yes.
And so why isn't that little pot falling, why isn't it falling into my pot? And I'm not even asking for a lot. I don't need a ton to make a lot of juicy yumminess where, I joke like where I feel like I'm going to have to go eat cat food, That's my version. Last year, I was kind of on tuna for a few months, it felt like. But so it's just like, it feels, and I know I feel dramatizing, but it feels like, am I cursed? What is it going to take? What else, because Angela, in your workshop, you were like, nobody's broken. You don't have to feel your fucking money story one more time. And I'm all with you. And Lord knows muscle testing and access and all that later. It's like, if nothing's broken, if all is well, what else is there to do?
So I'd like to chime in on that, because I feel I do. I've had...
Oops, sorry.
I've been in this situation. I've been in that situation. I get it. And it feels really like, it does start to feel like, what is wrong? Like, what am I doing wrong? Because I'm trying to do everything right, and it's still not working.
Right.
It's a big, like you said, I don't think there's any answer, because I think that is a really big topic, right, or container, because I think there's a lot of factors that can go in. But what popped up to me is actually something that we actually talked about in, I think, one of the original shows, actually, and that's the concept of contrast. And as within, so without. There's two ends of the spectrum. It's like, that's part of, like, when you up level, sometimes that like up leveling, there is going to be a, right? Like that's part of like this, right? Like, it's like this, and so I think we get really hung up of like, we think it's supposed to look like that.
Oh, it's totally linear.
And it doesn't look like that. And that's part of like, again, our initial reason why we wanted to have these conversations. That's not what success looks like. And so understanding that with every expansion, there's a contraction. Now, it doesn't mean equal. Doesn't mean that if I expand to whatever, $1,000, I'm going to contract $1,000. It's never equal. But that's just the nature of the universe, right? So like, what would it feel like to just really take you out of the picture and recognize that there might be something at work here that's going on that you don't know yet. And maybe you're being primed for something that's bigger or not, whatever. Let go of the attachment and give yourself permission to maybe rest, because it sounds like you're also working really, really hard to get this figured out. And maybe you need to play and rest.
I am all about playing and rest. Woohoo! Yes, I can go to the beach and then, the ka-ching, I'll get the email. You've got money. Like, how does it get any better than that, right? Yeah, totally. And part of it too, there's a bit of fear that's propelling all the activity, but so much of it is joy. Like, because I generally enjoy interacting with people, talking to them, helping them. And it brings me tremendous satisfaction. I have this racket that I haven't been willing to let go. Is like, I've been in business for 4 years. It's cost a lot of money to invest in it and in myself, and a lot of money that I have not made to every year if I were to look at that way, like all the money that I didn't make also. And sometimes I just wonder, what else is it going to take for me to finally break through my own income ceiling and begin to have the level of abundance that I think my work and my commitment really deserve. And so it kind of breaks my heart a little bit. And I know I that's kind of my deep racket in here. I'm not saying, I honor that it's my story. I honor that, and I'm willing to look at whatever it is. And I mean, I'm getting my driver's license here for California, and I will drive my car if it means that's what it's going to take. I don't mind, to pay the bills and to expand. I'm willing. And I'm like, can it just keep coming? Can it just keep coming? Because I think, and it also creates, a level of inferiority with me, is that when I talk to other people, or also I have this saying where I talk to people that I know make more money than I do, somehow there's a story within me that I'm not an equal to them because I don't make that money. Because, I'm also noticing, Angela, you talk about how the coaching industry has this. I'm noticing how some fierce programming from my first 2 years, like being coached, like if you're not making X money, you have a hobby, you don't have a business, right? If you're not investing in yourself, you're not serious. And
yes, that's where we all want to
blood boil.
The coaching industry is full of bullshit. It is full of bullshit. It is so full of bullshit. It is,
Angela, you were talking about investing. I noticed my third racket, which is I want to be with the Joneses. How, there'll be, I have a launch and I have an online business manager and I have this big team, right? Yeah. And you have to delegate. So I do have a small team that I love. And there's that part of me that's like, I was like, it always keeps on feeling heavy, Angela. I'm like, I want to do Facebook ads. I've got this new opt-in, and then I can create this funnel, and the funnel will be the answer, right? There's always still that part of me.
I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you for a second, because I'm hearing this pretty clear that there's energy behind a lot of what you're doing. And that's the key, because it's never about the what we do. It's the energy behind it that propels that outcome.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling, which you're not alone, sister, you are not alone in that. But when you're feeling like I've got to do this, I've got to keep up, or it's like, that's not clean energy. It's fear-based. Even if it's a teeny bit, it's still fear-based, and fear-based energy is not abundant. It's lack. It's based in lack. Mm-hmm. So take it from me. I don't freaking do launches. I have an assistant that's like works like 2 hours a week. I have no team. And I make 6 figures. It's like, I choose easy. It's like, I choose flow. Like, I don't want to compare myself. That's actually been one of my strengths, is I don't want to. Like, I want to be my in itself. So think about, what is it that you really, really, really want, without any of the shoulds and the this and the that and what it looks like on the outside. Like, what do you really, really want? And then what is your next best step for you?
Yeah.
What's your next best step? Not what anybody else thinks.
And I know you know access stuff, so destroy and uncreate all of the formulas, and I should do this, and like all this stuff, that there is a proven track record of why that works. And let it all go. Like, blow it all to smithereens, so you have a blank slate of like, now what? How does this program want to be communicated to the world? How would this money like to be received? And anywhere, and this is so good because this is something that I continually look at when I was really attached to this number for Ignite next week. Like, oh, and then what do you know? Ticket sales stopped. I'm like, oh, okay, I've like strangled it to death. And so it's like letting go of all attachment, and anywhere that you're looking for a client, a pay in full, a program, a launch, an event, a webinar, a teleclass to save you, then run the other direction. Mm-hmm. Stop doing it. Like, stop, like right there, just like, there's nothing to save. And to put that kind of pressure on a client or a pay in full or whatever is not trusting. Like, it's such a form of scarcity, but we don't see it because we're so excited about like the vision and the dream and and it's like, but like, let it all go. And it's like, do we really trust in a benevolent universe?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Either yes or no. It's not sometimes.
And formulas are great for starting. Like, I think formulas are awesome. It helped me launch my business huge because I didn't understand certain things, right? So it's like formulas and strategies and, all that stuff. They're great, but make them work for you. The minute they don't work for you, the minute you're like, that's not, or my energy is, I better do this, or, right? Like, that's when we got to choose differently.
Yeah.
Formulas and strategies and those kinds of concepts are a great place to start the inquiry for yourself. Start to learn, how do I get myself out there? Or what is a Facebook ad, right? Like, start the process, but always recognize your energy that's motivating it.
Yeah, exactly. I think about too, Angela, you and I've talked about this, like when we first started talking about this a number of years ago, about how you had the experience of coming from a similar background of like, go, and launch, be big and everything. And it was like, well, that's not your energy. That's not your signature. That's not, actually won't work for you. Mm-hmm. And so, there's strategy and formula, like you're saying, Michelle, they're great places to start. They work really well for very technical things. But when we're talking about behavior and we're talking about change in a person and knowing who they are, formulas and strategies and systems they point us in a direction, but they don't actually do the work. And so that's where we start to apply these systems, but we're human beings and we don't work in systems. Mm-hmm. It's just it's different. And so when you can discern that also will help as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Thanks, Chris. Yeah. So thanks for letting me share. And the challenge is always in the trust, right? When there are, and noticing that my default is, what am I doing wrong? What am I not doing right? What do I need to fix here? And I think there's that old story from the coaching industry, right? Well, you're not serious if you're not doing it or making a certain amount. So.
Oh,
fascinating.
I know, right? Oh, God.
Not only does that piss me off, but it breaks my heart. Like, I just felt this well of sadness, and I could get emotional, and it's not the wine.
Yeah.
Of how many people are beating themselves up because they're not doing it fucking right.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And it minimizes.
I want to cry, Angela.
It minimizes their potency. It minimizes what's possible because we put all of that energy and redirect it on a problem that doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Because someone else said we had a problem to sell an event or to sell a program, typically, not intentionally, but that's a great match. You know, like, you have a problem, I can fix it, you should buy this. Rather than like, what do you desire? I could help you with that. How does it feel to actually have me help you?
Exactly.
It's a totally different enrollment. And so it's like we've been stuck in this. And so it's like return to sender, all that crap. I would say acknowledge the fact that you're pissed off and be pissed. Like, just express the anger, because it can actually fuel some really great clearing and really great, like, wow, I'm so pissed. And it's not about like ranting, you know, on Facebook, unless that's actually what will create more for you, you know. But it's just, it really is heartbreaking for me to see how many people are tearing themselves apart because their business doesn't look like this version that someone once said, and we all bought into it collectively, and it's not real. It's just not real.
And isn't that though just everything just froze. Isn't that though just the manifestation of how that shows up in our life in general?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Say more. What do you mean?
Like that shows up in the business world, right? And there is a lot of, you know, coaches and mentor. I would say this is actually where I get pissed. So it's actually not coaching, that's mentorship. So actual coaching, when people understand the terminology, there's no advice giving. So mentoring, telling people what to do, is in that arena. There has been that conversation of, if you're not making so much, you're in a hobby or whatever. But it's more about how we are getting so caught up in comparing ourselves. That goes back to that comparison conversation. Because then if somebody just says, oh, this is what you're not doing, it's like, oh, okay, because that's what we've been doing since we were yay high. Yeah. Right? Like, now it's just our business that's manifesting that way. Where have we listened to other people's opinions when we shouldn't have? And it's usually because we've been doing that our whole lives.
Yep, exactly.
Do it in our business.
Exactly. I mean, this is something that I'm so passionate about. Like, we need to teach our kids how to trust themselves and trust that inner knowing. And even if it goes against their parents, and Lord knows I've done that and been punished for it. And so when we go and hire a coach or a mentor or whatever, we hire a coach thinking that we're going to get a coach, and we're actually hiring a mentor or a consultant. You're right on. There's a very vast difference. Or therapist, right? Mm-hmm. But we're not taught at a young age. This is how to listen to it. This is how to trust it, no matter what. And that's a whole nother conversation. One I think would be fascinating to have, you know, maybe next time or over the summer we'll have a one. But we just have one more minute left, and I want to just acknowledge you, Priscilla, for jumping on and being with us and being so raw and just letting us, you know, all say fuck at the same time with you. That was really cool. And just really invite everybody to come join us next month. We'll be back to the second Wednesday.
It's July 13th.
Yeah, July 13th.
Mark your calendars. Yes.
Back here, mark your calendar. If you have a topic that you'd like us to cover, please put it in the Facebook, on the Facebook page. Invite your friends. We just love this forum so much in this format, and just love and appreciate all of you and having your comments in the chat box. It's just so fun. So thank you all for joining us again this month. Any last goodbyes?
Everyone, if you want to just actually take the video off or on, turn the video on. We'll do a finale cheers. This was a great conversation. Yeah, this is definitely not for people who are offended by the F-bomb. Clearly, invite your friends who like to swear. Yeah, we'd love to see them next month and join the Facebook group. But awesome, Kathy.
Yeah, I definitely want to see everyone. So
see everybody. I'm glad to see there's wine. Thanks for being a part of what we've created. Hi, Barbara. All right, so cheers, everybody. See you guys July 13th. Thank you, everyone, for your contribution.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.